Okay, now we're going to attack this animation with the F code, which I think is a much easier way to work in. So I'm going to run back to frame 0. I'm going to um, hide the torso because I'm not really interested in that just now. I'm going to look at the right leg. I am not changing the position of the right leg, so I'm going to delete that. I am not going to change the scale of the left leg, or the right leg, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to change rotation. So if I look at rotation, we have 3 rotations. H stands for heading, P for pitch, and B for bank. We are not going to do anything with heading, so I'll delete that, and we're not going to do anything with bank, so I'm going to delete that. So here we have is our pitch. If we look at this, and I'll go ahead and adjust this so that we exaggerate it just a little bit here, and we can see this is our robot's right leg. So what this is showing us is that he is moving that right leg forward to 14.8 degrees, or actually I should say a minus 14.8 degrees. There it is forward. Then he moves it back to center and then all the way back. Okay, so that's not bad. Let's open up the left leg, and we're going to overlap it over the top. But at the same point, we're going to delete some of these things that we don't need. Scale, we'll go to rotation. We don't need heading, and we don't need bank. And we're going to open up pitch. So there's the pitch on both the right and the left leg. So this is our pitch on the left leg. One of the problems that you can see is that the left leg is starting to move too early. We didn't want it to move quite this early. So what we'll do here is I'm going to hold this down around frame 10, and I put in a keyframe. So what I'm going to do is I'll pull that keyframe back down to 0 or near 0. So let's see how that affects our robot's leg. So from 0 to 10, the right leg goes forward, and then there we are at 10, and now the left leg will start to go back as the right leg comes forward. I should say the right leg comes back to center. Then we're going to leave. You can see how the right leg's kind of going back too fast. So what we'll do is we're going to leave the right leg there a little bit longer until the left leg can get to center. So there the left leg's at center. So this is the right leg, I believe. And let's see what that will look like. So the right leg goes out. Okay, I'm going to have to shut off this. I'm going to have to only do the right leg because I'm having a hard time seeing it. So there's the right leg goes out. and then somewhere around 15, there it is. I'm going to put a keyframe in there. Move that up to 0. This keyframe I no longer need. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, that's approximately right. Now, if I go ahead and turn on this rotation here again so that we can see it, we can now see that these are exactly opposite, and they'll continue to be opposite every 10 frames. So we're at 25. I'm going to come out here to 35 on this black line, and I'm going to click, and I'll do the same thing on this one down here. And then I'll go out to 45. 55. And again, I'm just kind of giving this a quick eyeball. Doesn't have to be exactly right. You'll be able to go ahead and move those around later on. We'll go out to 85. So what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to pull these up just so they don't get in the way. You'll see why here in just a second. And all I have to do is select that blue dot. Now this one's up, so this one is going to be down. So at 35, 45 will be up, 55 it'll be back down, 65 it'll be up, 75 back down. So on this one here, oops, this one will be up and down, up, and it's a little bit easier with them both on the screen at the same time, because then you can kind of see where they're going. So let's just go see what's going on here. So if we start them out, here our robot, and again it looks a little bit awkward here, and we may have to work on that timing because he looks like he's going to tip over right there. But now, yep, the walking's working very well. Now, a couple of details. Do you see how these are very sharp here, whereas these are rounded? These are Bezier curves. These are linear curves. For the robot walk, I'm going to want all this to be linear. So I'm going to drag over this area here, and right here is linear. So I select linear, and my first ones aren't linear, but I'll go ahead. I'll change them to linear. Oh, because this one's not linear. I'll change that one to linear. Now everything's linear. This probably doesn't need to be here now, and that should make things look a little bit smoother. And this right here, we can come up here and set the key value to 0 because it is 0. I can highlight that and the key value here at 0 because that's where everything started out, and this is why I told you not to worry about it. Then I'm going to highlight all of these down here on the bottom, and I'll set those to, I think it's -15. They're all at -15. Then I'll do the same thing, the ones on the top, only I'll set these to just 15. So now the robot is going to walk consistently, there we go, and always the same way. So now the hands, the legs are working, we've got that taken care of. we need to, I believe, we moved the head to 30, and so so we need to have it come back and look straight ahead. So we can do that by 40. Let me close up the right leg and the left leg. Here's torso. I'll open up torso. And let's go into head. There's the head right there. I'll open up head. We don't need position again. We don't need scale because scale would change the size of something, so we're not going to do that. And then on this one, the only rotation that we're going to use is H, which stands for heading. And if you see P, pitch, that's not going to move. B is bank, that's not going to move. So we go to heading, and here's the robot's movement right here to that. And then we're just going to come back here, and we set at 40. We want them to come back to center, so I'll click there with my command key down, and I'll pull them back to 0. And again, I don't really need to fuss about it because I'll just come up here and put a 0 in there and return. So now the head will come back to 0 at the 40 position. So let's check that. So the head comes back to 40. Now let's look at the claws. So I'll close up the head and the rotation on the head. Scale, position, okay, torso. And close up scale. Here's my head. We've done that, and here's right arm. So right arm, I'll open up right arm. That's right leg. That's not what I want. Left arm, right arm. And let's see if this truly, there's my claw right there. So I'll open up the claw. Position, again, not needed. Scale, not needed. Rotation, open that up. Now when we look at the rotation on this one, we're going to have to collapse it down just a little bit because we've got a lot of rotation. And you can see it drops down here to beyond 200 degrees. And heading, we're apparently not going to need that. There's pitch and bank, but I need to go down to claw. And so it looks like it's heading, not pitch, and not bank. Okay, so we'll go into heading here, and here's our robot, and I said that I want to make that be, we'll make it spin all the way around. So all I have to do is click on that, and I'll type in 360. So there the robot's arm minus 360. So there's the robot's claw. Turns all the way around over over 10 frames. So we'll go out here another 10 frames. I'll hold the command key down. I'll click on it here. And on this one, I'm going to change that to 360 the other direction. So what it's going to do is the claw is going to go all the way back in the other direction. If I can again, And since we're going to go back and forth, all I'm going to have to do here is highlight both of these. I'm going to hold the Command key down, and I'm going to pull this out a little bit. And I'm going to pull that down to 55. Then I'll highlight all of these again. Hold the Command key down. Oops. There we go. There's 75. Oops, I have another one left in there. And so you can see that we can continue to go on, so on and so forth with that. And again, these can all be set to 360. These can all be set to minus 360. And let's go ahead and see what our claw looks like. So our claw looks like it's moving back and forth just fine there. And so we can go ahead and do that with the other claw. So go ahead and close up all of that. Here's the left arm. Open up the hypernerve, claw. Again, position. Don't need it. Scale. Don't need it. Rotation. Open up. Heading. We need position. Pitch we don't need. Bank we don't need. So let's go into the heading. Again, we'll choose that right here, and this one, we'll make this one go the opposite direction of the other one. So we'll put in this one 360, and then we'll come out like we said before, 10 frames later. Now put in minus 360. That takes care of that. We'll highlight these, hold the Command key down. Trying to get them pulled out there. Highlight those. Okay, pretty good. Just because I'm a stickler here, I'll put in minus 360, and we'll do the same thing on the top. How many of these will be 360? 360. Okay, so the robot's wrists are turning all the way around. Now we need to close that up. Close up the left arm. Now we're interested in the rotation. We're interested in the rotation of the robot's body. Now, when we look at these, we can't really see anything. If I roll over this, nothing's happening. Pitch. Pitch, something is happening. Why can't we see it? Why don't we have any bumps? Well, we don't have any bumps because we need to sort of increase the resolution of this particular area. So if we put this on and we said what we want it to do is we're going to have them go 5 degrees, 5. And then on this side here, oops, on this side we're going to have it do minus 2.5 degrees. So that takes care of that. We don't really need that one in there. So that's the, and then let's see how that looks with the walking. So let's bring our marker back and say, okay, so it's 5 degrees forward here. Then the body is straight here. And then the body tips back here so the other leg can go forward. Now I think the body is going to have to be tilted back a little bit longer. So you can see the body's tilted back here. Now, here's the thing that makes this tricky, is that as the other leg comes forward, that body has to be all the way forward again. So when you get the next leg all the way forward, right there, it must be frame 25, this has got to be all the way up there. So let's see. And then that pattern will just repeat. So to make a pattern repeat, we'll first of all highlight that and make sure those both are 5 degrees. Okay, so that's 5 degrees. To make the pattern repeat, we'll just select this, hold the command key down. Oops. And I'll do it again. Looks like a snake coming out of there, doesn't it? And just grab these. Oops. Okay, so that looks good. We'll highlight this, make sure these are all 5. Highlight these, make sure they're all minus 2.5. Might have to adjust the timing on it a little bit, but I think we're probably pretty good. So the robot's walking and rocking and everything looks pretty good. On this one here, one of the things that we might want to do is we might want to hold the command key down and hit rotation on that. Open that up, hit rotation on that, just to make sure that our body movement is equal to the rotation. And let's see, it's not, and we need to figure out why. Why isn't it? So let's let me kind of let's go back here to this point. So there the just kind of trying to imagine what it's supposed to be doing. So the body is all the way body is rotated all the way forward here. Then as the legs go back, it's neutral here. Okay, so that's fine. So here's what I'm saying is that when the legs are out, this should be all the way forward. So let me see what happens. Let's see. This is what I'm sorry, I'm just changing these and I'm not talking. What I'm thinking is that this, when the legs are completely completely opposite, the body really kind of needs to be neutral, the position of the body. Let's just see if I'm starting to get it. Okay, so the body's neutral there. It tips back and then goes forward, yeah, as the legs cross again. So this should be, let me go into my torso rotation. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to make them all linear right now, just simply because it's going to make it easier to see. So when on frame 25, what I'm thinking is that the body is all the way rotated forward prior, just prior, one frame prior to it hitting the peak in either direction, and then this is always at 0 when they're crossing. So this one is 2 frames before. There's 2 frames before. This is 1 frame before. Two frames before. What I'm trying to do is look at it and find the pattern. I'm wasting a lot of your time. I apologize. You may be able to recognize the pattern faster than I did. So I'll just look and see if I've got it. I've felt that where this crosses the 0 axis, the body is centered. And I thought that was important. Let's see what it looks like now. We can go ahead and pull our robot up here. So there he centers up, leans back, and goes forward. Okay. So I think that's probably pretty good. I would continuing on. Now, again, I apologize for that taking so long. One last detail that we need to do. We'll go ahead and close up these things, and you can see that not all the work is done, but we're pretty far along. So we're going to come in here into the model, and we're interested in position in the model. So let's go ahead and position our robot here in the robot complete, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a keyframe, and we can see that I didn't take care of the arms here. I needed to take care of that, but I didn't. But I'll go ahead and make a keyframe there on the robot complete. Then the robot is going to start to move. Not there, right there. So he's going to start to move at around frame 10. Okay? So what I'll do is hold the command key down and put a keyframe in there. Then out here at 90, we know that our walking step is done. I know from experience that this is going to move, I believe, to about 2,000 to 3,000 centimeters. So all I'm doing is changing this scale right here. And then I'm going to take this and I'm just going to pull it down. And we'll split the difference and go 2,500. These dots, you can see these dots right here. These dots represent the movement from frame to frame. So let me back up here. Let me move my robot and see how we're looking from the right. Let's go ahead and let's look from the left. Then we can have our robot walk forward. So there he is on the left. We'll make him just a little bit smaller. So there he's starting to walk, and then as he takes a step, you can see each step he moves forward. Now the one thing that you're watching for is you want it to look like the step is natural. Do you see the little bit of sliding there? That indicates to me that he's walking a little bit too far. So I'll move this up a little bit. And again, I probably think he's walking maybe a bit too far. That looks a little bit better to me. And so let's go into this view right here. And I'll get him over here. Whoops. Not what I wanted to do. Let's go into this. Pull them back. And let's watch it. So we'll back it up to 0. And that's what we needed to do. One last thing that we can do. If we go into our keyframes right here, we see all these keyframes, these wonderful keyframes. We said that this should probably take about 300 frames to do this. So what I'm going to do here is bring the size down just a little bit here. Slide it back over so you can see 300 frames. I'm going to do a select all, and then I'll just take this and I'll pull this out to 300 frames. So now everything that was taking place in 90 frames is taking place in 300 frames. The robot will walk a little bit slower, but it'll be a little bit more accurate. So there you have it. One last thing here is I'll change this to 300, and then you can see that my whole movie should now play. And here he comes, and he's walking pretty slow. And let me pause that right here. Okay, that looks pretty good. There you go. And that's it, folks.